Here's why the AR-15 and high-capacity magazine argument by gun-grabbing politicians falls flat on its face. How's it going, everybody? It's Bishop here for Tactical POV. Once again, another video I'm bringing to you. And before I bring this video up, man, to give a short story on it, this is a perfect example of why this argument for banning AR-15s, banning quote-unquote high-capacity magazines, which all these gun-grabbing politicians don't understand what high-capacity magazine is really, what they think it is, okay? But before I get to this video, man, this video is being brought to you by Laser App. Laser combines your device with a tried and true technique of dry fire into a revolutionary way for anyone who owns a firearm to train safely. Dry fire practice using a firearm without ammunition to simulate real-world shooting situations is so important. It helps elevate your skills and keep them tight. Laser Classic is a software solution that uses a camera/webcam to detect either infrared or laser light on your target. The IR laser light can come from a firearm fitted with a laser or IR emitter, or from a laser training pistol such as a SIRT pistol. The Laser X software uses your mobile device or tablet to give you a fast and easy setup anytime, anywhere. As little as one trip to the range covers the cost of laser, including the cost of the laser cartridge, and that's it. Your performance will immensely improve when you use laser. Go to laserapp.com and use my discount code TPOV10. That's TPOV10 to get 10% off your purchase today. Okay, shout out to Laser App for bringing this video to you guys. Don't forget to use that code TPOV10 to get that 10% discount on that purchase, man. It's an excellent app. So I'm going to bring this up here, and I got to show you this video if you haven't seen it already. This is about a home invasion totally going wrong, okay? It involves a Georgia veteran from Atlanta, Georgia here, and giving a perfect example of why you need an AR-15 for law-abiding citizens. And I'll explain this. I'll show this video, and then I'll give you my take on it at the end of this thing. But you guys have got to see this thing. If you haven't seen it already, I'll explain it. I'll explain the argument.
Man says he grabbed his gun and scared the group of men off. What he didn't expect is gunfire was exchanged. This all was caught on surveillance cameras. Fox 5 reporter Eric Perry is live outside the home in Clayton County. So Eric, what happened?
Yeah, Tom, Christine, honestly, what happened, that group of men picked the wrong house code to try to burglarize here. You can see the evidence on this BMW from that shootout, just riddled with gunfire. That man said he just wanted to make sure his wife was protected.
I don't want to die at home. I survived Afghanistan and everything else, and to die at home in my own yard.
The goal for Winfield Smith was to protect his family and home early Monday morning when he noticed a group of men on his Ring camera.
I'm noticing a young man running from my neighbor's yard across my front lawn into the middle of the street to meet up with two other gentlemen.
One of the men made a near fatal decision.
Sprints of my driveway. I can see on camera that he's hunched down, wearing a gray hoodie, and he's got some kind of firearm in his hand. He reaches to try to get into my BMW that's in the driveway. The door's locked. Grab my rifle, head outside.
With flip-flops, pajama pants, and no shirt, this veteran went to war to protect his wife who was hiding inside.
Boom, 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 boom. There was one gentleman that was on the other side of the trees, and the main protagonist was right here using my truck as a shield.
At one point, he kicked off his flip-flops, races inside, puts on clothes, and comes back out. He says he didn't have time to be afraid. Only time to act.
I didn't think that they'd be shooting at me and I'd be hearing bullets whiz past me.
This father fears he would have been dead if it wasn't for his BMW to shield the nearly 24 bullets.
They said, Mr. Smith, you're very brave. You're very brave, but you're very crazy, you're very stupid, but you're very brave.
Yeah, and Mr. Smith is alive. Thankfully, no one was injured in any of this. He says that the group of men actually got away with the firearm that he had inside of his truck there. He also says that after the gunfire really erupted, they tried to break into neighbors' homes to escape. They were unsuccessful, but they are still out there. If you know anything about this, come forward to Clayton County Police. Of course, you can remain anonymous. Scary moments here in Clayton County, but that's the latest. I'm Eric Perry, Fox 5 News.
Yeah, he made it through Afghanistan, and this happens in his own front yard. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Eric, thanks.
Yes, it's unreal without a doubt. Without a doubt. Okay. But I've got to say something about this because there's a lot of things that can be said in this video on this. And everybody can, after the fact, they have something to say as far as, was it right for him to come out of his house for this situation? Could he have just stayed inside? Could he hunker down? There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things to be said about this. So
I don't want to die.
But I gotta pause this. But I actually, you know what? I'm gonna bring this up and I'm gonna show you. It was pretty impressive as far as backing up and kicked his flip flops on. Then my man went back inside, put shirts, shoes on, pants, come back out, man. Still, it came back outside. He wasn't done. And it's crazy. Yeah, that is a crazy move. But here's my thing here. Let me break this down. Okay. Now, this argument here that we've been hearing for the longest damn time, man, coming from gun grabbing politicians. And I say gun grabbing politicians because you have rhinos on the right too that are anti-Second Amendment. It's pretty obvious because of the 14 clowns that just signed on, GOP clowns that signed on to the latest gun bill that just passed. Okay. Which was, it has minimal effect whatsoever. It has no effect on a criminal. It has minimal effect on you law-abiding citizen, which is still an infringement upon the Second Amendment. It's another argument we talk about. But in this situation here, should he have confronted these individuals outside of his home? Depending on the situation of what went on and the acts of what was going on, it's hard to make that decision. I would say something else in a decision as far as the layout of his home. This is why when I teach this in my course is that you need to have a plan. You need to have a plan laid out because of said home invasion. You need to have a certain type of home invasion plan. And what I mean by that is that if someone breaks into your house, where is there a safe room in your house to where there's only one way into that room? Okay. Does in the place where you set it up into that room, do you have what's called a fatal funnel? Okay. I know you've heard police officers say it. You've heard maybe other people say it, tacticians say it. It's the same thing. We all speak the same here. But do you have a fatal funnel set up? That means if when they step into this lane, there's only one way that they can enter into that safe room. They can't move left, right, side, anywhere else. Now, they have to come down this lane in order to access the safe room of where you are hunkered down into, your family, your wife, children, where they are. Okay. Because if they have no other choice but to come down that lane, it's lights out for them. That's a fatal funnel. Okay. Do you have something set up that way in your home? That's another question. Do you have a plan? If it goes down, then on top of that, what type of weapon are you using? I'm going to tell you right now, the AR-15, in my opinion, and I'm sure in other instructor opinions, law enforcement too, they would tell you, I would honestly say an AR-15 is the best thing to defend your home with. The thing is, you got to make sure that you have the right rounds too. All right. Because the rounds that you're going to fire out of this thing, out of this weapon, and shout out to him because I believe what I saw on the side of his right there is a 300 blackout round that he's shooting, okay, which is a little bigger than a 223. And definitely got more power for sure, even though 223 or 5.56, both of them, I mean, you can get technical, it's the same caliber, but there's just a little bit of technical difference in between the two, and I'm not going to go into length explaining it, but they're the same, okay. As far as you guys know. With this, him being able to shoot that round, you got to have the right rounds, okay? Because those rounds will penetrate. They will penetrate outside of your walls of your house into your neighbor's house. So you got to make sure you have the right ammunition where it's going to do initial damage and not over penetrate into like 4, 5, or 6 walls, okay? So with that being said, I don't know what he's shooting as far as his ammunition, but what I can say is that you have 2 individuals here, both of them carrying handguns. Both of them, I would assume, all right, that they're both 9mm. Okay. Now, if he's got a 40 cal or something, you're shooting anywhere from, depending on the 40 cal that you're shooting, probably 12, starting at 12 rounds. Okay. They go, I believe there's some 40 cals, I believe that go up to 15 as well, 15, 16, somewhere in there. I know 9mm if you're shooting a Glock 9, okay, or a Glock 19, that's most likely he's going to have a 15 round mag. Okay, depending if he's got one in chamber, he'll have 16 rounds total. But let's just, for argument's sake, let's just say it's 15 rounds. You have 2 individuals shooting 2 9mm at you, okay, with 15 rounds each. That's 30 rounds. A standard magazine for an AR-15 is 30 rounds. That is not a high capacity magazine. That is a standard magazine for an AR-15, okay? That is not high capacity. It has never been classified as high capacity. It has never been sold as high capacity. It's not called high capacity. It is called a standard magazine for an AR-15. Excuse me, we all know this, okay? Now, just imagine if in some states such as, I believe, New York, I think Massachusetts, California, I can't name all the other states that have a restriction on this as far as for magazine capacity, but I know for a fact that New York does. I think New York is restricted to, 7 or 10 rounds, I believe, magazine capacity. Now, say if he was restricted to the same thing. I don't know about Georgia because I didn't look into it yet. I'll look into it later, guys. If you know, leave it in the comments below if you know if there's any restriction from Georgia. As far as I know of it, it isn't. It's still a standard 30-round magazine that's standard across the board for AR-15s. Okay. Now, say he had, just hypothetically saying, if he had a restriction as far as magazines to carry, so he would have to carry just a maximum of 10 rounds per magazine. That means in order for him to match firepower coming out of 2 handguns that are both shooting 15 rounds each, just 30 rounds, for him to match that firepower, he would have to carry 3 magazines for his AR. Now, carrying 3 magazines for his AR, think about under stress such as this, having to stop, drop that empty mag, reload a new mag, and go back at it again. You have to do that once, boom. Second one, boom, another one for the third one. Just to match firepower, all right? Do you think that's fair in a law-abiding citizen's case against 2 thug-ass criminals shooting at him, looking to take his life? Knowing damn good and well the guns they got, they sure as hell didn't get legal, because on top of that, it said in a report that they stole one of the guns out of his car. That's another issue here. Let me get to that in a second. But I'm talking about this right here. The fact of you being outgunned by somebody else, that is a problem. This is why you have to stand strong on the Second Amendment. Criminals do not care. And if you restrict things from law-abiding citizens, it turns into a fact where it's hard for you. You now become outgunned by a criminal who does not care about your life. If you don't have the capacity to maintain at least the same amount of firepower, and it's not just firepower in caliber, it's just firepower in numbers of ammunition. You have to be able to at least match that, okay? I am all for it on a law-abiding citizen to overmatch that, to overpower a criminal, to make sure I have more than they have by far. And that goes not with just ammunition, not just with caliber. It also goes along with the simple fact of your skill, your training. Get more training. I say this all the time. I promote this here in my town all the time when I promote my business. Get more training over and over and over. Get more. What you think you have is not enough. Get more. If he had stepped out, think about this. If he had stepped out of there with his handgun, Okay. If he's got extra magazines, he's still outnumbered just by seconds of the initial fight of what's going on with gunplay. He's still outnumbered. He's outgunned because he's outnumbered, is what I'm trying to say. You've got two individuals shooting at him. He said one was behind a tree. The other one was using his truck as a shield. You got two people firing at him right here. Thank God he didn't get hurt. He didn't get injured. Too bad. You know, the criminals, they should have caught some. They should have caught a lot and should have dropped both of them. But thank God he didn't get hurt. Okay. If he had stepped out with his handgun, he would now have to fight off two individuals. He's outnumbered. He'd have to fight them both off with the same caliber shooting back at them. He's outnumbered. He's outmatched because of volume. That's a problem. In order for him to keep pace of that volume, he has to be able to have all of his rounds ready to go in a weapon that is more accurate than a handgun. Do you understand this? Rifles will always, 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 always be more accurate than a handgun. Always. Hands down. Just by sheer physics of the nature of the firearm that you're shooting. Rifles are way more accurate than handguns. Handguns are extremely hard to be accurate with. They're very hard to be pinpoint accurate with when you're on the move, when you're moving around, let alone when you're doing it when you're standing still, being static. You're static, target static. It's still hard to be, tight, pinpoint tight, unless your fundamentals pinpoint tight, to be very, very accurate with a handgun like that. Under stress like that, that's extremely hard. Okay. Handguns for certain situations, man, they're a close quarter battle weapon to begin with. So under a situation such as this, his rifle was definitely the weapon of choice in order just to keep pace in this fight, this shootout here. So with that being said, yes, an AR-15 definitely by far is the weapon of choice. Now, second thing here, as I said, I'm gonna get to. You leaving your weapon, your firearm in your car. How many times have I said this? I had to say this over and over and over. I say this to my students constantly. Do not leave your firearm unsecured in your vehicle, okay? If you are leaving it in your vehicle, make sure it is secured in your vehicle. That means lock this thing in a safe, a gun safe. They make these things all day, every day, and they're not that expensive, people. They're really not, especially if you have money or just money invested in just your firearm itself. To spend 30, 40 bucks, 50 bucks for a nice secure steel case safe that you can put easily in your vehicle that is bolted and secured down to that vehicle, lock it up. Lock the thing up, man. I have one in my vehicle. I've been carrying for years. I've always had one, okay? Because glove boxes are too easy to break into. Leaving it in a center console, too easy. Throwing it under your seat, it's ridiculous. That is your tool. That is your tool that you have. That's registered to you, okay? So I say if you leave it in a vehicle, make sure you lock that thing up and make them work for it. If they're going to steal it, make them work for it. Hell, don't just give it. Just don't leave it laying out there and just hand it to him. Make him work for it. If he wants it bad enough, and if you got it bolted and locked down and he still gets it, I'm like, I tip my hat to you because you had to work your ass off to get it. Okay. If you wanted it that bad, but just don't leave it out there like that. So like I said, that was his mistake on that point. Now, as I said, him making a decision when he did to come out and fight them off. Like I said, man, you have to really think about that choice to make. You really got to think about that. Is it worth you stepping out of your home and defending your home? I would say in the situation, yeah. I would also say too, he could hunker down in his house. It just depends on his house. It depends on his layout. It depends on his plan. Okay. If he doesn't have a good plan for a good safe room or something like that and too many multiple ways of entry or anything else like that in his home, defend him. He sees him on his camera. He's got him on a security camera. He sees it. The guy walking by on his camera and you can see the gun in his hand. Okay. I caught it here. Let me see if I can bring that up for you. Let me see if I can bring this up. And I'm gonna play this and I'm gonna bring this up and I'm gonna show you real quick. Where is it at here? Let me play this again here.
I don't want to die at home. I survived Afghanistan and everything else, and to die at home in my own yard.
The goal for Winfield Smith was to protect his family and home early Monday morning when he noticed a group of men on his Ring camera.
I'm noticing a young man running from a neighbor's yard across my front lawn into the middle of the street to meet up with two other gentlemen.
One of the men made a near fatal decision.
Sprints up my driveway. I can see on camera that he's hunched down wearing.
Right there. I pause it here. Let me bring this up. Let me highlight this for you. Let me highlight this. Right there. There's a gun right in his hand. Right there. That's it. That's what he saw. That's what I see right there on the surveillance camera. That's it. Right there. So, knowing he sees one that has a gun, okay, threat. Instantly threat right there, okay? It's an instant threat. There's another one too. He said it was behind a tree. He was shooting at him too. As I said, you got two people shooting at you with handguns. Man, bring that AR out and go to work, okay? If that's what you got to do, it's what you got to do. But at least you've got the tool to handle the job. Now, my final thought on this, okay? First of all, stop listening to these clowns, these gun-grabbing clowns, okay? Seriously. Anytime they come out, these weapons of war, stop. I swear these are the biggest bunch of morons, man, that walked talking about anything about the Second Amendment and just anti-gun everything, AR-15. AR-15 was not a weapon of war, and it was never even built for the military initially. It was initially designed and built for the civilian. You want the history of AR-15? I can do a video about that too. I think I did one before about that. Might have to bring it back up, do a new one. But come on now. We can get this information. You can go and look this stuff up. All right. AR-15 is not a weapon of war. That is just word salad. It's just Democrats and gun grab politicians, whatever. But like I said, because there's some Republicans too, piss me off. Absolutely. Don't think I'm pure. I don't support parties, people. I'm a conservatarian, actually. You know, I don't support parties. Parties are bullcrap. They just do what's best for the party. Both sides corrupt as hell, and establishment on both sides, clowns. But anyway, I'm trailing here. Anyway, as I said, guys, that's what I'm talking about on this here, man. Make sure you go out and get yourself an AR-15 for real. Because, why? Because of this right here. Share this video, guys. If you got it, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it, man, so much. Don't forget to use that app, man, laserapp.com. Guys, use my code TPOV10, get 10% off. It is an awesome app for dry fire practice. It's by far the most intuitive dry fire practice app on the market because it does more. It does so much more, so much. So guys, check it out. Look into that. As I said, if you don't have an AR-15, go get yourself one. All right. Seriously, exercise your Second Amendment right. Learn how to use it. If you don't have an AR, you got a handgun. If you don't, you get a handgun. Just exercise your Second Amendment right. And when you do, go get training. Get training. Learn how to use this weapon. Seriously, your handgun. Learn how to use an AR. Learn how to use a shotgun. Understand ammunition. Understand the right type of ammunition to use for home defense. Okay? Because there is a difference. A big, 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 big difference. Don't screw up on that. Make sure you get it right. Get training. Protect yourself. All right? So hopefully you like this. Leave it in the comments below, man. If you like this video, comment, share on it. I appreciate it so much. Subscribe. Don't forget. And I'll see you on the next one. Until then, remember, you are responsible for your own safety. So get more training.